Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So for today's makeup look, I have no idea what I want to do. I have had such a tiring week. Obviously, as you guys might know, I have a bunch of kittens. If you guys see on my Instagram, if you guys follow me there, you'll see that I have a bunch of small kittens and I have not had a full nights of sleep for about 3 weeks now because I need to wake up to feed them. So I figured I would just kind of sit down and try to relax and unwind and film a little bit. Right now I have a friend of mine is babysitting for them for me to give me a break. So I thought today would be a great chance for me to just sit down and chat. I'm not really so sure if I'm going to talk too much about my life. I'm not really feeling it right now, but maybe just talk about putting on makeup, talk about makeup, maybe some life stuff. I don't know. So let's just get started. I'm so tired, so if I seem all over the place, it's because my brain has just left the building. I'm kind of thinking I want to try a makeup look that's a little lighter on the base with just a little bit of full coverage in the center of my face because it's kind of hard to see on camera, but you probably can tell that I've been having some breakouts and I also have some bumps on my chin, and I don't know why, but I've just been having really frequent breakouts for this past week, and the one that was up here actually got so bad that I actually had to stab it myself to get all the stuff out, and only then is it finally starting to heal. It just kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and nothing was going anywhere, so I actually had to go ahead and forcibly extract it myself, which I hate doing usually. And then I have some bumps on my forehead that might be going the same way, and I've been having symmetrical pimples right next to my nose, and it's a whole situation. So I'm probably gonna keep the rest of my face fairly light on the foundation, but just use concealer to kind of cover up the center of my face. So I'm gonna be using the TATCHA liquid silk canvas. I'm gonna just use this all over my face. This is just gonna smooth out my face a little bit and also act as kind of a barrier between my skin and the complexion products. It's been a while since I've used it for sure, since I can't use this during the winter, so I'm definitely looking forward to being able to use it again. I was briefly interested in the TATCHA powder that came out. I was thinking of adding that to my Rouge sale basket, but Teresa is Dead had such frustrating things to say about it that I have decided I'm going to pass on it. I have seen there is a Dior powder and a Giorgio Armani powder, both of which have really caught my interest. I kind of, for some reason, really like to hoard setting powders. They're oftentimes really pretty vanity pieces, and I don't know, I just kind of end up accumulating them somehow. I'm not very smart about it. Alright, so I bought the Tarte Shape Tape Creamy Concealer during 21 Days of Beauty. It was a Diamond Platinum exclusive, so I figured why not? I'll get it because it was like $10. And I have mentioned before how the Shape Tape completely didn't agree with me. I got rid of it very quickly, but this one is ultra creamy, so I'll be trying it for the first time today on camera, and we'll see if I like it. I'm just going to be pushing this all up onto my cheeks. I'll put some on my chin, and I'll put some on my... And then I'm going to go ahead and take my Pony Effect puff and I'm going to blend it out. And honestly, this amount of concealer that I just put down is going to be enough for me to really just spread it out across my entire face. I don't understand how I can see other people put this much just under their eyes. How does it not look terrible? If I put this much product just under my eyes, I think I would just look so awful. It always amazes me. So right off the bat, I can say that this would blend better with a wet sponge instead of just this puff. So I think next time if I use this puff, I'll just dampen it with some setting spray beforehand. This concealer sets down and dries really quickly and is not as easy to blend out as other concealers. It said it was extra creamy, but honestly it feels just like Shape Tape. It's just not settling into all of my lines and clinging to my dry patches, but the set down time and the blend out time is very similar to Shape Tape, so that I wasn't expecting that for sure. I also might have gotten the wrong shade again. See, this shade in Tarte matches me for their foundations, but for the concealer it makes me look like a freaking Casper the Ghost. I'll use contour and bronzer and we'll bring some dimension back to my face. It definitely has really good coverage, so I do like that. That's kind of what I was using it for. I'm gonna take some setting spray to kind of help push this product into my skin better. I would say don't use a puff for this concealer, I guess because it's a Western brand. So I'm just gonna let the puff absorb this setting spray, and I'm gonna now use this to really push it into my skin. And so now it's going to behave more like a wet sponge. And it'll also kind of help pull up any excessive product that is just sitting on my skin and doesn't need to be there. So next time I use this, I'm going to try it with a damp sponge, so I'm not going to form an opinion on it. I'll just, for now, just continue on with my life. I was going to buy the nude stick products during the 21 Days of Beauty, but because of the kittens I got so busy I forgot to buy it, and by then the shades I wanted were gone. So at that point I was like, it's not worth it. I'll just whatever. I didn't get those either, but I have other stick products we can use and other cream products. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my concealer. I'm gonna be using the usual to cover up my dark circles. Okay, so that's kind of my base complexion products down. The concealer doesn't feel as creamy hydrating as I had hoped it would, so I am going to not powder. I am going to like dab like the tiniest little bit under the concealer I just put under my eyes, but I'm gonna not powder the rest of my face. I'm gonna be taking the EGLIPS Blur Powder Pact, and I'm going to be using the little puff it came with. I'm gonna kind of hold it in a way where I'm folding it so that I can get that precise application under my eyes, and then I'll just tap it in. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. Blend it with my finger a little bit. And then that will set my under eyes, and it'll also kind of tone down the brightness under there as well, because my under eyes were looking like way too bright for my liking. Okay, and I do really like that powder. I feel like it really actually does really like super blur out your pores. So I said I was going to use some kind of cream products and stuff, so I'm gonna first start off with this cream blush. This is from the Roman Hanbok collection. It is their cream blush product. It's not a duo, although it looks like it. It's just got the cream inside. The bottom is for a little applicator that you can use to kind of just dab it on. And it was advertised as not being super dewy, and I've noticed when cheek colors are too dewy, like to like straight up liquid, they kind of just don't sit on my skin the way I want to. So I bought this thinking this had a lot of potential. Oh yeah, this is really pretty. So this is kind of a warmer, more pastel color, so this is definitely going to kind of help inspire an eye look for me. And this puff applicator does work really well. It's a little bit small, but I guess that's good because it means I can really control where it's going. So you can see how it gave a very slight flush to my skin. So I'm going to kind of go back in and just tap on a little bit more. Right in the center, I'm going to put a little bit more on. Yeah, and it's not disturbing my my base, my concealer that I put down is not disturbing any of that. And towards the outer perimeters of my face, I have very little to almost no concealer on because I blended out to that point. Yeah, I'm definitely more interested in more matte cream products, which I know sounds really counterintuitive if you have dry skin, but even a matte cream, even a more matte finish cream product is still gonna be more hydrating than a powder, but it'll have the added benefits of lasting longer, and it won't have any of that extra hydrating stuff that can just straight up destroy your foundation depending on your skin. And like, I don't know what makes my skin hate liquid products so much because I don't have oily skin, but me and them just don't get along, and I guess some people's skin is just that way. So and then I'm gonna go back in with my original puff and really just dab out those edges. Okay, so that's what my cheeks are looking like now. I'm gonna go in with my Soleil Tan de Chanel. It's the original Formula 1 that doesn't exist anymore. I am going to use this to apply some warmth back to my face. And in my pack of dough puffs, it came in a pack of 2. So I am actually going to try using a second clean puff to apply this product as opposed to a sponge. I feel like the sponge doesn't put it on the way I like it, but I don't want to use a brush. So I'm gonna use a puff and see if that gets me the effect I want. I don't know, this could be a massive failure, so we'll see. Okay, so far it's not a complete disaster, so it has promise. The puff doesn't apply too much at once, and as you can see, I can then just very easily blend it out, actually. And I just kind of melt it into the blush, and then I'm gonna carry it along the perimeter of my face. Okay, so this is what my cheek is looking like now. You can see that the pink of the blush melts into and blends into the warmth of my contour, or bronzer. I actually really like this method now. And I'm definitely putting on a lot more bronzer than I usually do. You can really visibly see it just because the rest of my face became so flat when I put that concealer on. That shocked me a little bit. Okay, so I put on bronzer and I'm feeling a little bit more like myself again. I'm gonna take the excess and just kind of tap it on the side of my nose. Kind of like the world's most subtle nose contour. And now you can see I also have some dimension back on my nose too. My nose was looking like a flat singular object and now it has just a little bit of... Now it has just the littlest bit of shadow on it. Okay, so I actually really like this method, so I'm just going to put the puff back in with the stopper, and I'll just keep the two of them kind of married together for a little bit. Okay, so I am now going to just ever so slightly contour underneath my lip. I've noticed when I do that, I feel like my lips look a lot fuller, so I'm gonna do that really quick. And for this, I do use like a more gray shade. You can kind of see now. And then I put a little bit kind of right up here. Just kind of helps my lips become a little bit more pronounced. And then I'm going to take a little bit and put it underneath my chin. I don't really like putting bronzer right underneath my chin because then I just look like I have an orange patch under my chin. But I do like to take just the tiniest bit of contour just to help make sure I don't look like I have a double chin or something. And just to kind of shrink my jawline a little bit. Because my jawbones are pretty prominently set. Like, I don't think this is something jaw Botox could fix, and I definitely wouldn't ever recommend anyone get their jaw shaved to fix a problem like that. Oh, and I have a fresh breakout on my jaw as well. Fun. My skin is just a complete mess. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to eyebrows. And I know like eyebrows aren't super, like you don't really see them when you have bangs, but I still want to do them anyways. So I'm gonna just be using my Urban Decay Brow Blade in the shade Cool Cookie as usual. So there's a before and after of my brows. It's a pretty big difference. And then I just like to brush them out or blend them out with my little brush. And now I'm going to take the blackout ink stain and I'm going to draw in those fine hairs. I have like this really weird situation with filming where my mirror is like offset to the side or else it shows up in the frame, and so like I keep doing this because the mirror is that way, and like I know it means I'm like going off frame. I'm like trying to figure out a way to improve the situation. I'm really sorry. Okay, so my eyebrows are on and I know you can like hardly see it through my bangs, but it's still nice to add them because otherwise on the rare times that my bangs kind of part and you can kind of see my eyebrows, it would be really weird if they weren't done. So I just get them done this way. They last fine, honestly. I'm not super picky about them, but we're gonna move on to the eyes now. Okay, so I'm gonna prime my eyes now and then I'm gonna move on to the eyeshadow. I'm gonna be using my usual Urban Decay Anti-Aging Primer. This is just kind of what I use when my eyelids are dry. Okay, so my eyes are primed, and as usual, I'm not gonna be setting my eye primer. I'll kind of use like a bone colored eyeshadow to do that. But I thought for today it would be really fun for me to just, because I just want to relax, so I'm just going to do something that's a little bit more in my comfort zone. So I'm going to be using this Natasha Denona bronze palette. I got this when I traded it for the Melt Vita palette, which I know like you can judge me all you want, but that palette did not agree with me, did not work with me. I love the color story and I'm gonna replicate it one of these days, but the formula just no. So I sold it in exchange for a different palette, and so I asked for this bronze palette because this was back when the bronze palette had just released, and that's how I got this. But then haven't used it yet, so but it has warm tones, and like my first ever eyeshadow palette was Naked Heat from Urban Decay, so I always have had a soft spot in my heart for these really warm tones. So I thought today it'd be fun to kind of do something nostalgic and relaxing and just use these to make an eyeshadow look, because these are like so easy. The shades are never troublesome for me to work with. I always know what I want to do, and it's so easy to work with color studies like these that are so monochromatic and beautiful. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I am first going to take the shade Beach over here, and I'm gonna use that to kind of wash over my eyelids, set my eye primer, do the usual. Zoom you guys in so you can see my eyes. Take that and buff it all over my eyelid. And I figured this kind of eyeshadow will also match how warm the bronzer is from Soleil Tan de Chanel. I know a lot of people, they don't really like that one because it's so warm. So I find myself using it when my eyeshadow is going to match. In other instances, I prefer definitely something a little more neutral. TATCHA just released some bronzer and sculpting duos, and I'm like, it's sitting in my cart. I'm gonna get one once the VIB sale comes on. Like, so I have a bunch of stuff from him in my cart. The only thing is that his colors are super LA-like. Like some of his blushes I just didn't really want because they're very, very bronzed. Definitely super going for that you tanned at the beach and burned a little kind of blush. And like super, super beachy. And I actually really don't like beaches. Like you couldn't pay me to go to the beach really. So the beach makeup aesthetic has never appealed to me. So that's why I find myself not owning actually all that much from him, just because his colors, his color preferences aren't really similar to mine. But that's fine. I just wish he had more. I wish he'd kind of branch out with his colors. Alright, I'm gonna go in with suntan right here, and I'm gonna just continue to deepen up my eye look. I don't know how complicated I'm gonna get today with the makeup, honestly. Like, it's not natural and it's definitely not like daily and soft, but I don't think it's gonna be anything too crazy out there or creative today. I am just trying to relax and enjoy my day off from not sleeping. So that's what it's looking like so far. I'm like super wishing I had actually used this when I got it last summer because it's just such a great summer palette, but honestly that was like right around the time I got it was when the whole world just completely careened into what it became, and it was so hard for me to work up the energy to use all the stuff that I had just gotten. And I also was and then I would feel really guilty about owning it and not using it, and so I would further just kind of avoid the problem because I'm very avoidant, and I just continued to not use it. I just continued to pretend I don't have it because thinking about how I hadn't used it yet would make me feel guilty, but then I just would have this wall of awful of using it, and so it would continue to be unused. If you ever want to check out How to ADHD on YouTube, I'll link her YouTube video in the description box about the wall of awful so that you guys can watch it and kind of understand what I'm talking about. But I tend to develop these really, really, really weird walls of awful. Like, I don't know why it's that specific thing that I can't do, but I'll suddenly, my brain will just be like, no, we cannot do this thing. And it'll just sit there and not be done forever and ever and ever. And then when I finally do get it done, it's like, oh, that wasn't even that bad. I don't know why I put it off. I'm just so mad at my skin. Like, I can't help but keep staring at and poking and touching all of my bumps. I know I shouldn't, but I get so mad about it that I just keep touching them throughout the day just to remind me and make me mad all over again. I just can't stop staring at all of my stupid bumps, and I'm going to go in with Magma over here, and I'm gonna really just keep this closer to my lash line. And then I just kind of angle it upwards and outwards towards my on my outer corner. I start kind of angling it back up and out to kind of match the rest of the eyeshadow. And it looks really rough right now, but I will be blending it later with the brush that I was using previously. Okay, and now I'm gonna go back to my big brush that I was using, and I'm just gonna start using what I laid down. I'm just gonna quickly run over this. Okay, so that's what it's looking like now, and I'm gonna actually go back in with this big fluffy brush and take more of Magma, and I'm just gonna use it to add it to the outer corner where I had wanted it, but add it much more diffused, much more sheer. So now my eyeshadow is looking a little more intense on the outer corners. And then finally I'm gonna take some of Beach, and I'm just gonna use that to lightly go over. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into Magma, and I'm actually just gonna keep using a big brush because I think using the small brush first ended up not really doing much, and I'm just gonna use this big fluffy brush to directly deposit that pigment on where I want it because it kind of ended up going everywhere anyways, so who cares. Okay, so having a little bit of trouble with the blend, so I'm gonna go back with that smaller brush that I said I wouldn't use because I made a mistake is what I did. I'm gonna go back and just kind of push that into the outer part so that it looks more symmetrical. I seem to have a bunch of acne spots on my eyelids too, so if the eyeshadow looks weird, it's partially because of all that lid texture that I have magically acquired. So it's not the eyeshadow, it's gonna be the fact that my eyelids are just, apparently my entire skin is just mad at me. Alright, I'm gonna take like a giant fluffy blending brush because this eye I completely messed up on and it needs to be fixed. And then I'm gonna finally take a lot more beige and see if that can kind of smooth everything out. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. Not my best eyeshadow job ever. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Bliss here. It has a very rosy hue to it. And usually it picks up way better on a finger, but I use a brush first to decide where it goes, and then I'll use my finger to amp it up to full saturation. Okay, so now I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna really push it onto my eyelid and get that maximum intensity. On my finger, it has like that rose to gold shift, but it's special because the gold is not gold, it's like more bronze. So it doesn't look like a traditional rose to gold duochrome like you've seen a million times before. And it almost kind of looks a lot more sunset-y, but it still doesn't look quite like a sunset either. I mean, that's what she has her whole sunset and sunrise palettes for. So it's just such a unique and beautiful shade for sure. Alright, I'm gonna take a very, very, very thin brush to intensify the lower lash line as best that I can. Can't use my finger for this, obviously. Okay, so that's what my eyes are looking like, and I definitely was able to rescue it last minute with this shimmer, and I love the palette. But I mean, that's the whole reason of why I asked for it in the first place. I knew I was going to really enjoy it. I'm just gonna put on some mascara. This would definitely benefit from false lashes, but again, I'm just really just trying to relax, and false lashes would just stress me out so bad right now, so I'm just gonna put on mascara and call it a day. And you know, I feel like sometimes just putting on false mascara, even if the false lashes would make it look better, I feel like it really helps you guys get a gist of what it would look like in a more realistic situation, because I know not all of us wear false lashes as regularly as I do. I only do that because, you know, monolids, straight lashes and everything, but a lot of people who watch me, I bet you guys just don't use false lashes. So I feel like a look like this, even though it would look better like in the thumbnail and in the IG photo if I had false lashes, I'm just gonna put on mascara and give you guys a chance to see what a intense eye look like this would look like with just my bare lashes. So you guys can really kind of see realistically what we would be looking at. Okay, so this is what my lashes look like just after they've been curled. You can hardly see them honestly, so let's just put on some mascara. So I still have not yet bought all the mascaras that I need to, so I'm just gonna use this for now, this Hero & Make Volume and Curl mascara. It's not the super waterproof kind, so it's really not that great. So just FYI for anyone getting the Kiss Me Hero & Make that I love so much, get the super waterproof kind. And no, it doesn't make it harder to remove or anything. I also just, for some reason, my lashes have really thinned out all of a sudden. I guess I must just be going through a like massive shedding phase because I suddenly have no lashes left, and it's like makes me look like I am just have wimpy, stubby, awful lashes. I guess my lashes might be stressed too, and that's why I'm losing them all. Or maybe I'm just going bald, who knows. So that's what the mascara looks like, and you can't really... So for the bottom lashes, I'm just using my Clinique one because that, again, is the only one I have right now. I need to get more, I just keep not getting around to it. I'll probably just save it for the VIB sale. So my lashes are not looking the best that they could be because I'm using some pretty subpar mascaras, but I guess it's just more, we'll just call it like what, more realistic looking, I guess. Nothing to write super home about lash-wise, but it does let the eyeshadow more or less kind of be the star of the show. I do not have any eyeliner on, not today. I'm going to put a little bit of eyeliner on my bottom inner corners, kind of the usual, and I'm just using the Glossier Play Color Slide in Disaster Class. I believe these are discontinued. They're honestly not that great. I'm just using it because I have it, and the shade will match. If I zoom back out, this is what my face is looking like, and the eyes definitely dominate the whole look. But I kind of think the blush disappeared a little bit, but the bronzer is still definitely showing through. So I don't really feel the need to add more blush when the bronzer was so heavy, but I am going to go in with highlighter. I'm going to be using this ColourPop Super Shock highlighter in the shade Coastin from their Costa Coral collection. Now, I really have not been feeling ColourPop recently. Like, there's been things that I wanted, I'd add it to my wish list, I'd add it to my cart, but then I just kind of would just walk away. But their Super Shock highlighter formula is definitely really still super good though. And this is the only shade I have, but I do really want to get more. So I'm just gonna, because it's coral, but that orange tint will still match the rest of my face. And I will say that their Super Shock highlighter formula is really good. And in this packaging, it's not changed, it's still really good. Like, their blushes have all just been looking the same and everything, but their Super Shock highlighters, every time they release new shades, I would just add it to cart. So I do still want to get more of their shades, I just kind of just keep forgetting to, I just kind of let it slide. Alright, so that's that. I'm gonna also kind of put a little bit on my nose as well. It is almost too dark for my nose, but I can just barely get away with it due to the nature of the look. I'll also put a little bit on my chin, and I'm not going to put any on my forehead because you can't see it anyways. And then finally, I do need to highlight my inner corners. I have no inner corner highlight, so I'm going to be taking, actually this will work. I'm going to take Becca Champagne Pop. This is a completely new champagne pop. I bought it during the Becca 25% off sale. Now, had I known that they were going to be half off during 21 Days of Beauty, I wouldn't have done my clown moment and bought them all for 25% off only, but you know what, it's fine. I have them now. I wanted to get them because Becca was going out of business, and I honestly, there's no reason for me to try and moan and groan about how much I paid for it. I made the decision to buy them 25% off. I thought that was worth it for me, so nothing I can get mad about there. But anyways, this shade I'm pretty sure is not really necessarily for my skin tone, because I know Jacqueline likes to tan. I prefer to not tan. I like use an umbrella when I'm out and everything. This does make for a beautiful inner corner highlight with a bronzy look like this. And I'd imagine it would work really well as a highlight if I have the bronzer and the blush that I have on. Then it would work as a highlight on top. So it's kind of one of those kinds of highlights where you can't wear it on bare skin, but you can wear it over something else. So like if I ever did get into that beachy look, this is like the ultimate beachy highlight, I would think. I will say that Becca's highlighter formula is really good. Okay, so now I have highlight and inner corner highlight, so my eyes are looking pretty complete at this point. So I'm gonna kind of just call this done, and we're gonna move on to the lips. First, gonna line my lips with my usual Fawn from M Cosmetics. I always use this these days. I just realized I was covering it up with my mirror. Oh, I feel stupid. So I'm gonna take this Sisley lipstick. It's in the shade 12, so you can kind of see. Mine's is gross because I use it so much, but you can see it has orange to it. So if I put it on my lips, you'll see that that's the color payoff that I'm getting. I did not buy them full price, by the way. Somebody was selling them online for like $9 to $12 each, and I was just like, so I have them, but I did not pay full price for them. You can definitely use a similar formula, similar color, way cheaper than like whatever they charge, like $50 or something. So don't worry, I am not that bougie yet. So this is the finished look. It's really pretty, very comfy for me. This is like my cozy, go-to, warm-toned, intense eye for when I want my eyeshadow to show, when I want the world to know I'm wearing makeup, but I also just want it to be really easy for me to put together, and I want to feel really pretty. I feel like these tones are just some of the best tones for my particular complexion. They just flatter me so well. So I always just find these to be a really easy go-to for when I don't know what I want to wear, but I want my makeup to be like oomph and you can see it. So this is definitely something more common for me to wear in like the summer and fall, but I think having a more orange toned as opposed to bronze or nude tone lip kind of brings a little bit of that bright spring element into it, if you get what I mean. And then also having that pinker blush as a base with my bronzer, and then having that kind of coral tone highlight also really helps brighten things up and make it more lively as opposed to more rich, if you get what I'm saying. So that was this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me put on some makeup, kind of just relax, do some makeup therapy. And I'll be back for a kind of more chit chat get ready with me for my April get ready with me life update in an upcoming video. So thank you guys all for supporting my channel and for understanding me. I definitely am super proud of being able to be on time for Tuesday uploads for so many weeks in a row now, and I do intend to continue to stay that way. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!